Carla Walker was a bright and lively 17-year-old high school student in Fort Worth, Texas, whose life was cruelly stolen on the night of February 16, Minnetonka 74, in a horrifying crime that left the community in shock and her family in agony. After attending a Valentine's Day dance with her boyfriend, Rodney McCoy, the two stopped in the parking lot of a bowling alley to spend some time together. When their romantic evening took a dark and unexpected turn, without warning, a man yanked open the passenger door, grabbed Carla, and viciously pistol-whipped Rodney, knocking him unconscious as his girlfriend screamed for help. By the time Rodney regained consciousness, Carla was gone, vanished into the night, and the last sounds he heard from her were desperate cries of terror. Her disappearance sent immediate shockwaves through the city as frantic search efforts began. But hope was brutally crushed 3 days later, when her lifeless body was discovered, dumped in a drainage culvert near Lake Benbrook. The state of her remains told a story too horrifying for her family to bear. She had been beaten, sexually assaulted, strangled, and discarded like garbage. The sheer violence inflicted upon Carla was so extreme that even seasoned investigators were disturbed, with one officer later stating that her injuries suggested unimaginable suffering. Despite an extensive investigation, leads were scarce and the case went cold, leaving her family haunted by unanswered questions and a predator walking free. One of the few clues at the crime scene was an empty magazine clip from a .22 caliber pistol, a chilling detail that investigators believed could hold the key to identifying the killer. A local man named Glenn Samuel McCurley owned a gun of the same caliber and had a past criminal record, making him a person of interest early in the case. When questioned, McCurley denied any involvement, claiming his gun had been stolen. And after passing a polygraph test, police moved on, unaware that the true monster had slipped through their fingers. For decades, Carla's case remained a tragic mystery, a cold case that tormented her family and left the community wondering if justice would ever be served. Then, nearly 50 years later, a breakthrough in forensic science brought new hope as DNA evidence preserved from Carla's clothing was tested with advanced genealogical techniques. Scientists at Othram Inc. used state-of-the-art genetic analysis to extract and trace the DNA to possible family members of the killer, an investigative method that had already helped solve numerous long-forgotten cases. The shocking results led detectives back to the man they had once questioned and dismissed decades earlier, Glenn McCurley, now an elderly man in his late 70s, who had spent the past half-century living as a free man while Carla's loved ones suffered. In 2020, armed with undeniable DNA proof, police confronted McCurley at his home, asking him once again about the events of that fateful night in 1974. At first, he denied any involvement, but when detectives obtained a direct DNA sample from him and confirmed an exact match, his lies crumbled under the weight of irrefutable evidence. Facing life in prison, McCurley eventually confessed in chilling detail, revealing that he had been lurking that night, searching for someone to attack. When he saw Carla and Rodney in the car, he acted impulsively, ripping her from the vehicle and taking her to a secluded location, where he subjected her to hours of unspeakable torment before ending her life. His confession sent shockwaves through the courtroom as Carla's family and investigators finally heard the horrifying truth from the very lips of the man who had evaded justice for nearly half a century. In 2021, McCurley pled guilty in the middle of his trial, avoiding a lengthy legal battle but sealing his fate with a life sentence in prison. For Carla's family, the verdict was a bittersweet victory. Justice had finally been served, but nothing could ever bring back the bright young girl, whose future had been stolen so violently. Even after his conviction, McCurley never showed genuine remorse, offering only hollow apologies that did little to ease the pain of those he had devastated. His time behind bars was short-lived, as he died in prison in July 2023, never truly facing the full weight of his monstrous actions. Despite his death, Carla's case stands as a testament to the power of forensic science and the relentless pursuit of justice, proving that even after decades, the truth can still emerge from the shadows. The resolution of this case also sparked changes in how cold cases are handled, with new funding and laws, such as the Carla Walker Act, aimed at providing resources for DNA testing to solve other unsolved crimes. Families of missing and murdered victims now have renewed hope that technology can finally bring closure to cases that have remained mysteries for generations. The Walker family, after decades of suffering, found some solace in knowing that Carla's story had a meaningful impact, ensuring that her tragic death was not in vain. Even today, her case remains one of the most haunting crimes in Texas history, a reminder of how a single moment of evil can change lives forever. The ghost of Carla Walker lingers in the memories of those who loved her, in the echoes of her mother's grief, and in the hearts of a community that will never forget the innocent girl whose life was so brutally stolen.